Alright, so this is where I'm at with the engine now. Since I have these nicely cleaned up heads, I decided to get new pistons, cylinders, and valves. I don't think the old ones were in terrible shape, but that would just be yet another thing I'd have to spend some serious time cleaning up in order to even see if they're worth reusing. And even then, I would probably have wished that I would have replaced them as long as I was rebuilding the whole thing anyway. I went with AA pistons since they have exactly what was in this 1.8 liter engine originally, which are these 93mm dished pistons. I didn't really know anything about valve and piston lapping before I even bought the new pistons, cylinders, and valves, but there are a lot of good videos on how to do this that helped me learn, and I linked to the most helpful ones I found in the description. If you're unfamiliar with this like I was, this is a process in which you grind the cylinders and heads together with this grainy, sandy-like compound until it leaves both mating surfaces with a nice matte finish, giving you, I guess, proper leak-proof contact. And then upon assembly, you'll need to match up the cylinders on the chambers of the heads you've lapped them to. Once I understood this process well enough, and since I didn't need to replace the valve guides or valve seats, I didn't see the need to take this to a machine shop where I could probably have had all this done for me. So I thought I would try it out for myself.
I noticed there's a little bit of a irregular step right here and right here. And from what I can remember when I took it apart, the shims that were in here, they were a little bit irregular shaped. And I'm wondering if that has something to do with how they've worn in a little bit unevenly. It extends from here to there. So hopefully lapping these gets rid of that.
The valve compound I got came with a coarse and a fine abrasive paste. I actually only used the fine compound to play it safe, and so I could see the gradual progress. And I'd grind a little bit and then clean it up completely to gauge how much effort was needed to get the mating surfaces to the proper finish.
So now, that was just using fine grit. This step, you can still see it, but it's significantly flatter. And it kind of just disappears over here. But there's still some discoloration. So that still needs to be. And even this little part here is kind of shiny. Right there. It still needs more. Otherwise, all the way around, it looks much better. It looks uniform. That's all that's left of that mark. I think I can live with that.
And now here are cylinders 1 and 2. There's no real noticeable wear or anything, but looking back on their condition when I removed them originally, it looks like it could have been leaking from the dirty, oily marks radiating from the bowls that you can see here. And both heads looked like this. You'll notice I'm doing a lot of continuous cleaning. I thought it would be wise to be careful with this stuff and try my best to avoid getting any of this paste anywhere where it shouldn't be, like in the valve guides. As I went through this, I made sure to do the same amount of rotations of the cylinders against the head for each cylinder, just for a little reassurance that I was wearing everything evenly. And this is what they looked like after the first pass. And this is what they looked like when I decided I was done. A little brighter yet, with a nice matte finish evenly all the way around. And now onto the valves. Also from AA, really it's the same idea here. You apply the paste on the two mating surfaces and rub them together until you get a matte finish. There's also some angle cutting some people like to do, but these stock valve seats were in pretty good shape already and they seem to mate well with the new valves. And so I'm doing a technique that I've seen a lot of other people do, attaching a rubber hose to the end of a drill and then the other end to the tip of the valve shaft, and you run the drill until you can hear the pitch of the grinding sound change. It sort of changes from a rough grinding sound to a higher pitched, smoother sound. And then you just kind of lift it up and do it again. It's probably better to use something like a braided hose or something more firm like that. The rubber hose I'm using here twists and bunches up a bit too much. Here's an intake valve after one round. And the valve seat. It still has a ways to go. I wanted to make sure to grind until I couldn't see any of those small speckles in the valve seats, and for them to be less shiny overall. And the exhaust valve after one round, and the seat. Again, you can see it's not quite there yet. Like the cylinders, it's good to match the valves up with the seats that they were ground to for the same reason. And here is everything all done. In the next couple videos, I'll be starting to assemble the motor. So stay tuned for that, and thanks for watching.